A moral dilemma, which custom obscures, besides the representative officer, if he is merely an instrument or blind vehicle, like a messenger bearing a sealed dispatch. He is not an officer of government at all, but only a servant of the government. Anyone who wished to maintain, literally, the claim of the people to govern themselves would need to reduce all legislators and administrators to executants of exact instructions issued by the persons who had elected them. Yet, obviously, such instruction could never anticipate the terms of all measures that would have to be voted on or executed. A certain initiative must therefore be left to a representative agent to decide particular questions, on the understanding that he will be faithful to the general intentions and sentiments of his supporters. A more delicate point, however, is this: elected representatives are elected by a majority of votes. Even if all voters were unanimous, they would themselves be virtual representatives of other members of the community who did not vote, such as minors or travelers, whose interest the elected person is expected to keep in mind, no less than if they voted. And almost always, at his election, besides the numerous absentees, there will have been a large minority who would have given him contrary instructions. These, the conventional sentiment of democracies allows or even commands him to oppose or to ignore altogether. But this is a congenital defect of government by election, mitigated only when, in crucial matters, the whole elective body is unanimous, and their party quarrels touch only incidental, personal, irrelevant matters. A party is not the whole people, and if a representative is bound to express only the will of his party, he is not a fair representative of a truly self-governing people. Yet, if a people, by mistake, ever appointed a philosopher to govern them, the case would become much worse, for the philosopher would not fail to see the impossibility of satisfying the wishes of his electors if these wishes ran counter to the laws of nature, or to the conditions imposed by neighboring powers. And he would go even further, and ask himself if the interests of all other living creatures should not be considered in adjusting our wishes to our circumstances. Supposing the most favorable possible case, that all physical and military obstacles could be easily removed, and the purposes of the philosopher's people could be wholly realized, would it follow that only the express neglect of all foreign arts and the extermination of all our passive enemies would really secure the vital liberty of our people? The matter depends on the moral composition of each psyche and the degree of its organic unity. There are loose psyches, which, at different seasons, or on different occasions, feel and judge in different ways, being now mastered by rage, now by sympathy, here by an idea, there by a vice. And there are close, well-knit psyches that utter always the same note, cultivate the same fixed group of virtues, but are blind to all other interests, and are eager to extirpate all alien customs or opinions. When a state is morally homogeneous, as, with negligible exceptions, is each primitive tribe or rebellious community, any elective representative will have an easy conscience in his politics, because he will feel no temptation to deviate from the beaten path of his supporters, nor, while he walks in it himself, any fear of their disapproval. But in a mixed society, or a decadent age, where rival conditions clash and every sort of morality and immorality finds publicly respected advocates, it might conceivably happen that a pet virtue of his electors should seem criminal to him, who, for some special service or distinction, have been chosen to represent them. If a war or a persecution, for instance, were enthusiastically favored by the people, he might, on resigning his post, scarcely escape with his life. Or, if the government were in the hands of a traditional ruler, who felt that he was the appointed guardian of the people's highest interests, as Charles I of England, he might find himself in this dilemma: either to die as a traitor for resisting the apparent will of his people, or to lead that people to their moral ruin. This instance may seem to show the futility of obstructing the spirit of one's time. Yet, King Charles's sacrifice did represent the deep roots that the Church and the monarchy had in England, such that, although restored unsatisfactorily and transformed clumsily, they have ever since preserved refinement in English life, and a feeling which might have been missed if England had developed entirely like Holland and Germany.